Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, this video right here, I've been sitting here shooting videos for about an hour or so, and this is one that I almost forgot about, but I'm glad I remember to make it because it's one that I really been meaning to make, and I actually had to go digging for a lot of information to make this one. So I hope you guys really enjoy it. Now, if you guys remember, not this past weekend, but like 2 weeks ago, we had the David Lemieux Curtis Stevens fight, and that fight was obviously what we thought it'd be. It was a knockout, drag out, slugfest, and it ended in a devastating knockout, which it will probably wind up being the knockout of the year when David Lemieux stopped Curtis Stevens in the third round. Now, it was a great fight. It was fun to watch, but there was a lot of things that went on before the fight that people in the YouTube boxing community and the boxing community at large weren't happy with, and they kind of criticized David Lemieux for it. And that was the fact that there was a random IBF title on the line, like the IBF Intercontinental, like one of those random titles. And the IBF, as many of us boxing fans know, they're the only sanctioning body of the major four that you actually have to go for the second weigh-in. So you have your regular weigh-ins. If you fight at 160, which Lemieux and Curtis Stevens did, you have to come in at 160. Then you have the second weigh-in, and the rule is if you come in 10 pounds over the contracted weight, then you can't fight for their title. So what wound up happening was Curtis Stevens did the IBF second weigh-in. Lemieux didn't, and Lemieux on fight night looked significantly bigger than Stevens. Now, a lot of that is the fact that Lemieux has struggled to make middleweight in the past. That's no secret. And he's a very big guy for the weight. And Stevens, on the other hand, is not a very big guy for the weight in the first place. So, with that being taken into account, that played a role. And not just that, there were some things that had, like, and shout out to him, man. I'm a big fan of his channel and what he's done, on YouTube. So, this is not me saying anything negative about him, but shout out to Blood Boxing. He put out a video where he was basically criticizing boxing media, boxing fans, but mainly boxing media for not calling out, stuff like this, guys being weight bullies and stuff. And when he said boxing media, I mean, I know I'm not Dante's Boxing Nation. I'm not Box Ego. Personally, I think I'm better than a lot of those guys, and I think I'm going to prove that over time. But I consider myself boxing media. So when I heard that, it triggered something in me, and I went digging. And a lot of you guys just think I'm some kid who just sits in this chair in a blue Everton jersey making YouTube videos, but no, I'm well connected in boxing. I got people I can reach out to at the drop of a hat and find some information out. And so when he said that stuff about the Lemieux, and he said, oh, he looked like he was 190 pounds and all this stuff, I went digging. And I know somebody from Lemieux's team. I know somebody from David Lemieux's team, very close to him, that I could reach out to and get more information on this situation. He's gonna remain nameless because I'm not gonna cite my source. But I hit him up. I was like, hey man, I saw you on TV and whatnot, and I wanted to ask you if you knew anything about why Lemieux missed the second day of IBF weigh-ins. Now this person is very close to Lemieux, so he has very good insight. He said I said that why did he miss the second day of the IBF weigh-ins? That rubbed some people the wrong way, and I wanted to see if you knew anything about it. So this was his explanation. He said this. He said, I quote, the one weigh-in was at 5 p.m. And usually it's around noon. We advised the commission beforehand that if the weight was at 5 p.m. that we were not going to do the second. And then I said, okay, any idea on why they changed the times? And he said, no, I don't know. And then I asked him, I said, what was the reasoning for not doing the 5 p.m. weigh-in if the IBF mandates it? Don't both teams have to adhere to that? I'm not trying to be annoying, but I have a clear understanding because I've been hearing people call Lemieux a weight bully and a variety of different things on YouTube. So I'm just trying to be clear before I put this video out about this. I know Stevens did the second weigh-in, which makes this all even more weird. Also, I know that Lemieux came in at like 159.5 in the Friday weigh-in, which is lightest weight he's came in at since fighting Rubio. I know he's been struggling to make 160, so I know he was pretty heavy on fight night. And then he said this, the guy that's close to Lemieux said this. He said, I quote, the week before the fight, Camille and Stefan tried to make the commission do the weigh-in at noon, but they didn't want to move it. David did the weight well. It's never easy for any fighter to cut weight, but it was the easiest. It was the easiest weigh-in since a while. In my opinion, we could have done the weight in the morning with no problem because David went to sleep around 171. He would have lost a pound during the night. So that's what it was. So basically, what we're getting at is the IBF. Because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the IBF, when they do their second weigh-in, it's the day of the fight. So it's to get a gauge on what the fighters weigh on the day. So once you do the regular weigh-in and you see what you rehydrate to, you know, they have a clause where you can't fight for the title if you're 10 pounds over. And Lemieux, I believe, that night came in at 177, and Stevens is 170. So Lemieux wasn't able to fight for the little title. It wasn't the IBF title, but it was like, you know, one of their random titles. So that's what it was, and people made a big deal about it. But apparently the IBF changed the time of the weigh-in, which is significant because, especially when you're someone like Lemieux who hasn't been, you know, making 160 easily, you know, you need as much time as possible to lose the weight. So I completely understand why they advised the commission beforehand and why they didn't do the second weigh-in, but it's still a weird situation. So I wanted to get this out there, this information to the people, because it's important, man. It's important that we have this stuff documented now. Do I think that Lemieux was a weight bully, and do I feel bad for Curtis Stevens? The answer is simply no. I don't feel bad for Curtis Stevens. And do I think Lemieux is a weight bully? No, not really, because he was still heavier than GGG, and GGG beat his ass. So it doesn't necessarily make a difference. I feel like with boxing fans, a lot of you guys, especially ones who don't like certain promotional teams, and no disrespect to Blood Boxing, big respect to his channel, big respect to him, but it's not a secret. In that video where he made about this, he was going off on Golden Boy. He doesn't like Golden Boy fighters, which is completely understandable. You know, with the racist emails, I'm not in agreement with any of that stuff. But you can't let your feelings always cloud your judgment, and a lot of boxing fans do that. So Lemieux weighed more than Golovkin on when he fought him, and nobody was complaining about it then. In fact, a lot of you guys were saying after Golovkin beat his ass clinically that Lemieux was a bum, he was a nobody, and then now since then he's had two really explosive wins. One against a game Glenn Tapia destroyed him, and he destroyed Curtis Stevens in what was knockout of the year. He's proven himself to be, pound for pound, one of the most devastating punchers in boxing. And Gennady Golovkin made him look like he never picked up boxing gloves before when they fought. So I think that's more of a testament to Gennady Golovkin than anything, and how great he is. So, with all that being understood, there has to be, I guess, you know, to me, I have a problem with Lemieux coming in or wait for that particular fight because it's not for the IBF title, and two, there was a lot of trash talk going into this fight between Stevens and Lemieux, more so from Stevens than Lemieux. If you guys remember, if you guys are following any of the interviews Stevens did, he was talking all this nonsense about how Lemieux was ducking him and how he needs to get that thong out of his ass, and you know, he's talking a bunch of rubbish, a bunch of trash about, you know, David Lemieux, and David Lemieux was calm, and he was confident in his abilities, and he delivered one of the most devastating knockouts we've seen in quite some time. Max Kellerman, who's been ringside for fight after fight after fight for many years in boxing, has said that arguably might be the most devastating knockout he's ever seen. So do I feel bad that Curtis Stevens got beat down? No, because, I mean, I don't wish bad on nobody, but I don't feel bad for him in the sense that he talked trash. So if you guys want to come back after the fact and say that Lemieux was weight bully for this fight, but you don't say it for the Golovkin fight, I think it's just selective complaining by boxing fans as usual. And I think if we're going to complain about Lemieux being weight bully in his wins, we should also complain about him being a weight bully in his losses, because then I could sit here and say, well, maybe Golovkin would have knocked him out earlier if he didn't have so much damn weight on him, you know? So that's what it is. And it's funny because the same people, and I haven't even watched Blood Boxing's videos on the Golovkin-Jacobs fight, so I don't even know what he said. But I know a lot of people who will criticize Lemieux coming in at 177 or 178 or whatever, close to 180 on fight night. They'll criticize him for that, but they're not going to criticize Daniel Jacobs, who also missed the IBF weigh-ins for the Golovkin fight, and he was at least... Alex, what do you think Daniel Jacobs was for that Golovkin fight? What do you think he weighed?
Probably like 180.
he was at least pushing 180. He looked a lot heavier than Lemieux did. I'll tell you that for sure. And he at least had what do you remember what did Golovkin weigh in at? 170 what?
170.
170 flat.
Yeah.
So he was at least pushing 15 pounds on Golovkin. He was a damn. Golovkin was fighting a cruiserweight. It was a middleweight fighting a cruiserweight basically, or yeah, on fight night I guess a super middleweight fighting a cruiserweight. But regardless, a 10, 15 pound weight disadvantage that means a lot in a world championship fight against a guy like Daniel Jacobs, and it showed. Golovkin hit this guy with some shots, and he was taking him really well. And I'm not gonna sit here and take any credit away from Jacobs. He fought the fight he needed to fight to give himself the best chance. But I personally believe that the reason he was able to take a lot of those punches was because of Golovkin, but because of the weight. If he doesn't have that weight on him, I don't think his punch resistance is gonna be as good as it was with the weight on. So it just makes me laugh, man. Like, obviously weight bullying is a thing that happens in boxing. Guys are bigger. Like, look at Errol Spence. Errol Spence has admittedly said, I walk around at 180 pounds, and I believe him because I've seen him in person. He's a big guy, and he cuts down all the way to 147, and then he rehydrates on fight night, and he's big as hell, and he has his advantage on fighters. So is weight bullying a problem in boxing? Yes. Did David Lemieux come in overweight as per IBF rules against Stevens? Yes. Should he have maybe followed the protocol? Yes. But was he fighting for the IBF title? No. Was Curtis Stevens? Curtis Stevens is only 7 pounds less. 7 pounds, you know, he was only 7 pound difference. And Curtis Stevens is a hard puncher too, and he had success. So I think what happened in that fight wasn't so much the weight; it was more of a tactical. Because in that fight, I believe Curtis Stevens fought the wrong fight. It was more of a lack of of any tactics or any game plan. He had the wrong game plan fighting Lemieux. Lemieux is clearly the harder puncher than Stevens. And there's this old adage in boxing where it's don't hook with a hooker. You know, a guy that's a great, can hook really well. And not even just that, Lemieux's a bigger guy, so it's easier for him to get his hooks off. And you know, ironically, it was the knockout was on a short hook of him with Stevens coming in. So he fought the wrong fight, and I'm not going to attribute that to weight. I'm going to attribute that more to Stevens fighting the wrong fight. That's what it was. Wrong game plan against the wrong type of guy, and he got punished for it. Should the IBF... I feel the way this could be solved, honestly, is if the IBF and all sanctioning bodies would just do away with these damn titles, like Intercontinental, Silver, Gold, Diamond. All that stuff is corny to me. There's a lot less confusion if you just have one belt. Because it's bad enough we have 4 belts in every weight class, but now for every sanctioning body we have the belt and then like 3 or 4 different sub-belts. So just have one belt per sanctioning body, and it'd be easier. I mean, I don't think we're going to have one universal sanctioning body, but if we have 4 sanctioning bodies, just have one belt for the sanctioning body. Don't have sub-belts that confuses everything. And then when dudes come in overweight because they don't feel they have to, they don't really have any need to, you know, kill themselves, make the weight to fight for a title that does nothing for their career, you know, it is what it is. I can see both sides of the fence, but I don't see anything wrong. So, again, I'll review what was said. The weigh-in was at 5 p.m. The IBF moved it to noon, which is earlier in the day. The team of Lemieux, the guy that I know, and the team of Lemieux advised the IBF saying that if the weigh-in was at 5, that they're not going to do the second one. So that's what it was. And Camilo Estefan pretty much said that, you know, if they're not going to do it at noon, I mean, if they are going to do it at noon, then they're not gonna do it. Camilo Estefan tried to get them to move it to noon so Lemieux could make the weight easier, and that didn't happen because that's when the time they usually have it anyway. According to my source, he said that David Lemieux, the night before the fight, went to sleep at 171 pounds, being 1 pound over the IBF limit. So he probably would have woke up. If he wakes up and goes steps on the scale, he's 170 pounds more likely, or damn near close to it, and he can cut that pretty easily. So that's what it is. But you guys give me your thoughts on this. I'll actually be taking pictures of this, and I'll be having screenshots so you guys can see the conversation for yourself. So you guys don't think I'm BSing it here. But That's what it is. What do you guys think that these sanctioning bodies should do to prevent weight bullying or things like this that you guys deem as problems? Let me know in the comments down below and what you think about the whole situation, what I told you guys. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.